Hello, we're from these James videos, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's a little bit overdue. I'm going to be talking about the Morris Costumes 2022 Halloween animatronics. Now, as we know, Morris did not reveal their animatronics at the Halloween Party Expo this year. However, a company called Mad About Horror released some footage of the new Morris animatronics on their YouTube channel, and that is where these videos come from. First things first, how do y'all like my little Mardi Gras setup back here? You like it? You like it? Mardi Gras is such an underrated holiday, so I just wanted to share that so you know that that's what's going on. You see Grimm in his witch doctor voodoo priest outfit, and you got the bride. She's holding her masquerade mask, and she's got that Mardi Gras thing in her hair. Pretty cool. Back on track. These props are not bad. First off, these are just my opinions. I am perfectly fine with you liking these animatronics, as we all have different tastes. But I think these props are not bad, but they're not great. And I feel like they're getting a lot more hype than they deserve, to be honest. Now let me get this out of the way. I love SVI. They are one of the best prop companies. When they do stuff right, they do it amazing and really kick it out of the ballpark. I think I own more SVI animatronics than any other company. I mean, they gave us the 12-foot pumpkin, the 12-foot skeleton. They've really added some very innovative stuff to the Halloween industry in the past few years, as they always have been the more innovative company, making new things and introducing new things into Halloween. That is something that really makes them such a good company. However, I feel they're at their best when they're making stuff for Spirit and Home Depot. When they're making stuff for Morris Costumes, it's not always their best work. And from SVI, I definitely want to see their best work. The Morris stuff, more times than not, just usually happens to be generic and kind of boring, and not really anything too special. And it sucks because they have some good ideas a lot of times, but then they make it kind of boring. And this never used to be the case for Morris, but I've noticed in the past few years, Morris has really not been too great. And I haven't been too excited about seeing their lineups anymore, because I know there's most likely not going to be anything I want from them, because they're just not too great. And it's a shame saying that, but I think they're definitely not one of the best at the time. But they're not terrible. Their stuff isn't bad, but it's nothing amazing. With that being said, we are going to jump into this. Like I said, there's a few that I would say I don't really think are good, but for the most part, none of these are bad. There are actually some pretty cool ones. They're just a little too basic, and they have flaws. We're going to start off with Rotten Harvester. I think this is one of the better ones. And actually, when I first saw it, I really, really liked it. But and I still do like it, actually. This is a pretty cool prop, but I do have some issues with it. First off, let's get the positives out of the way. He looks super cool. I mean, he is a really cool looking scarecrow. He's also got a pretty cool voice. I like his voice. It's not that overused, deep demonic voice, but it sounds cool. I like how it sounds. He's got a nice voice. And he's got a good concept too. My problem is, I feel like he would have been a much better prop if it wasn't for that pumpkin plant thing in the pot that he's holding. Because I love man-eating plants, and I think most of us can agree that we definitely need more man-eating plant props, actually good ones. So, not like the Home Depot one from last year. We need some good man-eating plants. But combining a pumpkin and a man-eating plant together is kind of odd. It makes more sense than if a scarecrow was just holding a straight up man-eating plant. But I think the whole man-eating plant thing just didn't really need to be a part of this prop. I think as just a scarecrow, it would have made a lot more sense and it would have been better. It's just kind of weird that he's holding that. It's just kind of off-putting, and it makes for, I don't know, it makes for too much of a showstopper animatronic. And I like showstopper animatronics, but I feel like you really have to stop and stare at him to really figure out what's going on here. And I feel like that's an issue with him. He's very hard to use and haunt because of that. And He's not a terrible prop. Like I said, he's actually one of my favorites. If it wasn't for the pumpkin in the pot, I might actually get it because I really like how the Scarecrow looks. But with that aside, I also have the issue that this is just something I've noticed, and it's something that I really wish they would do something about, but almost every prop we get now is 7 feet tall. And I love giant, huge, very tall props. I have a lot. However, they used to be a lot more special because they weren't something we got often, and they really stuck out, especially in a haunt. If you have all the props are like normal average size and then you have this big one, it really sticks out a lot more. But now, I mean, this is disregarding the 12-foot pumpkin and 12-foot skeleton because those are just like top tier. Those are amazing. I'm just talking about the 7-foot towering side-to-side moving props. I love them. I want them to keep making towering 7-foot tall props. However, they're making too many and they don't feel special anymore, and they don't, almost every prop we get is 7 feet tall now, and it's like, there's just too many now. They really need to cut back, and I would still like to get 1 or 2 a year, but let's keep it at like 1 or 2, not almost every prop. Like, I feel like this Scarecrow didn't need to be a towering prop. He could have just been a cool Scarecrow, but I think it kind of works in his favor because I think he looks really cool being a towering prop. Next, we're going to go to the hulking werewolf, which is one I'm kind of upset about because I feel like he would have a lot of potential because I love werewolves, and big werewolves are the best werewolves because werewolves should be big and intimidating and scary. And I think he's a cool prop. I like the LCD eyes. I like that. I actually kind of like his look, even though it's overused. It's not bad. I think he looks very large, which, though I just mentioned we need less of the 7-foot props, I feel like this is one that I can pass off as being one of the few that we can get because it's a werewolf. He should be big. But the issue here is his body is like a rectangle, and I don't really know what's going on there. It's just, it's very off-putting. He looks very weird with the fact that he looks like that. So I feel like if he wasn't like that, I would like him a lot more and possibly consider getting him just because he's a pretty cool werewolf and it's a pretty cool idea. It's a lot like Mr. How, just different. I don't really care for his animation either, though. That's not the best, but it's not terrible. I just really don't like how his body's shaped like a rectangle. It's just really weird looking. We're gonna move on to possibly my favorite one. I'm not entirely sure, but this is the Servo Crone Witch. And you know, I've wanted to see more witches for a while that aren't just generic witches, because I really like witches when they're at their best. And I feel like this is a really good witch, to be honest. This is one that I actually really, really like. And I would get it, except it's just not a priority of mine, so I'm not going to. I can definitely see myself getting this one. Like, it's not one that I definitely would not want to get. This is a pretty cool animatronic. It's a basic witch, but it's got the servo motor like Grimm has. Now, one thing I do want to mention about the servo motor is this servo motor technology is awesome, and it's one of the many ways that SVI has shown that they're one of the most innovative companies in the Halloween industry. I mean, Grimm is such a fantastic animatronic. He was my favorite of 2021, not only because he's a cool skeleton, but his servo motor was fantastic. I think this is fine, seeing servo motors with that same movement as Grimm for the time being, but this is just a little thing I want to put out there. I really hope that as time goes on and we get more servo motor props, because I'm going to assume we're going to get more because it's a new technology that they're inviting into the Halloween industry. I'm really, really hoping that they'll do different animations. They'll do different things instead of just the same servo with just a different skin, if that makes sense. But pretty cool prop. I like her. I actually do like her phrases too. She's just your classic Halloween witch. I think the only thing that could make her better is if she had a green face and green skin, because I like the witches without it too, but I primarily like the witches with the green face, green skin, and the pointy black top hat and stuff. Those witches are my favorite types of witches. I feel like we should see more of those because those are the classic Halloween. We have Trapeze Clown or something like that. He's pretty cool. I actually like him. He's just another one of your basic like amusement ride clowns, I guess, like the clown go round, the seesaw clowns, stuff like that. But I think he's a pretty cool one. I think he's definitely one of the best out of those because his animation is really cool. I mean, he's on this trapeze and he actually does a full spin on it, and he pulls himself up and then he spin. It's very creepy because it looks very realistic, which makes it very uncanny. The way that he actually pulls himself up and does the spin, I think it looks pretty cool. This is a pretty cool one. I'm curious to see how much he would retail for. I don't think I would get him, but definitely in the future he's one that I might have my eye on. Because I think he is a pretty cool one, and I like him. I think he's creepy looking. He's a pretty cool prop. This next one we're going to get into is actually my least favorite. This is Pesky the Clown, and I know a lot of people don't really care for this one too much. I don't care for any of the big top clowns, like the original Big Top Clown, and then the Little Top Clown, and now Pesky the Clown. They all have that same look, which I don't really like that look. I don't really like how they look. They look very generic. They're literally the most generic you can get for a clown. And that's not a good thing, because clowns are some of the characters who can have the most unique and cool looks and personalities to their character, and making one that's this generic just, it doesn't do it. I also don't really care for the colors too much, because they look like Ronald McDonald, to be honest, but really the thing is they're not very Halloween-y. And I know clowns always have bright colors and stuff, but there's a way to still make clowns have bright colors and still have them have a Halloween-y look. Like Waving Wally, he's got whites and black, and it looks Halloween-y, but he still looks like a clown. Peekaboo Clown, though he has blue and green and stuff, they do it in a way where they fade it, and so it still looks spooky. This guy, his colors are just way too bright and vibrant, I think, to give off a spooky, creepy vibe. He just really sticks out a little too much, I think. But I think my main issue with him is how basic he is. He's literally just a 7-foot clown, turns and moves side to side, and looks super generic, and doesn't even have that good of phrases. Really a very, very lackluster prop. Probably my least favorite prop we've seen from any company so far. And I don't like him. I really don't. And I mean, if you like him, then that's good. I'm glad you like him. But I feel like if you want the 7-foot clown thing, you have so many better options to go with, like Sweet Dreams, Towering Clown, the Rotten Ringmaster, Cagey the Clown. You have so many better options to go with than just this generic clown. And the thing is, he probably won't be any cheaper. He'll probably still be around the like $250 to $300 mark. And so it's not like you'll be saving money with him. He'll still be around the same price. So just not one I really care for too much. Now we have the Whimsical Scarecrow. He's a cool one. I mean, it's nothing I would ever get because he's supposed to be kid-friendly. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do a kid-friendly thing, cool. And I think he's a perfect prop for it. He is a pretty cool animatronic. I will give him that. I like him, actually. I like his look. I like his voice. I like the whole vibe to him because I really do like that whimsical fall festival type vibe that he has. He's just not something that I would ever use personally because I do scary stuff and haunts and stuff like that. I would never actually use this animatronic. However, I think he's definitely a pretty cool animatronic. The way he moves, the way he looks, the stance he's in, the way he talks. He's a pretty cool one. I actually like him quite a bit. And if I did stuff like that, I would definitely consider getting him. So if you do stuff like that, if you do like fall festivals or things like that, I think this is definitely an animatronic that you may want to look into purchasing because I think it's one of the best like whimsical, kid-friendly fall Halloween type animatronics that we've seen. I think he's a pretty cool one. He gives a thumbs up for me. Though I would never buy him just because he's not something I would use, I think he's a pretty cool one, and if you think you would use it, I recommend you get it. Last but not least, and I know I said the witch was probably my favorite, I changed my mind because I've thought about this guy some more. We have the Graveyard Host, which is a pretty cool prop. When I first saw it, I didn't really look at the perspective of the house and everything behind him, and I assumed he was like a 7-foot tall one. But he's actually, I'm pretty sure, around 10 to 12 feet tall. So he's like the 12-foot skeleton, pumpkin, witch, 12-foot, 10-foot reaper. He's like those ones, which I think those are all fantastic. There's not a single one of those I don't like. So I like this guy. I think he's pretty cool. He looks great. The fact that he's that big is awesome. My only complaint, and it's literally only one complaint I have with this animatronic, and it's his phrases. Obviously, I don't have an issue with the more kid-friendly, spooky things as opposed to scary, as I do like the Whimsical Scarecrow. However, this prop is clearly supposed to look more macabre, more scary, more creepy. And he definitely does. He looks great. Yet he says phrases about partying and stuff. So I feel like that's kind of a letdown because it makes it a lot more limited on what you can do with him. And it, like, if he didn't say that, if he said some more spooky things, I might consider buying him because he's cool and replacing my pumpkin with him. Though that is like a very small chance because I love my pumpkin. But that brings me to another thing. With the phrases aside, because he's a cool looking animatronic, so you could just have him turned off or have his volume off or whatever. With the phrases aside, this is a pretty solid animatronic and I like it a lot. And if I did not have the 12-foot pumpkin already, I think I would consider purchasing this guy because he's super cool. But if you don't have any of the 12-foot or 10-foot ones already and you want to get one, or if you want to get more, I think this is definitely a good route to go because he is a cool one. I mean, it really depends on personal taste. I hope they keep making these 12-foot, 10-foot, whatever ones because I feel like it's really cool how they're giving us different ones of like multiple monsters now, because no matter what your taste is or what your theme is or whatever you want to do, they're giving us a bunch of different opportunities. I mean, we have a skeleton, we have a pumpkin, we had a reaper, then we got a witch, which the witch is actually very little known about because she was a Halloween City exclusive one, and Halloween City was behind on their shipments last year, so she didn't come until late in October. So she's not as well known, but she's really cool. And now we have this graveyard host. So I feel like I really want them to keep giving us these 12-foot ones because they're just super cool. And I feel like one thing that's so great about them is they can go in a haunt for sure if you have like a big showstopper scene that you want to put them in. But I feel like one of the best things about them is the fact that not only can they go in a haunt, but they're great for home decor. I mean, they're great for decorating outside. I mean, they really draw attention to your house. But also for people who do like full-out Halloween events. I know a lot of people who do full events and not just home haunts have like the 12-foot skeleton and stuff. And I feel like those are great for attention grabbers and they're great for photo ops for inside the event. They're really, you can do a lot of things with them and they're really spectacular, to be honest, because I remember last Halloween with my pumpkin, he really grabbed a lot of people's attention and people couldn't stop talking about him the whole night. And so I really hope they keep giving us more of these, because if you take away anything from this video, it's that I'm not too impressed with Morris's lineup this year. However, I love what some of these things they're doing are, like the Servo Witch and the Graveyard Host. Those two I think are truly good animatronics that I really want to see more stuff like. So I hope they continue down that path, and I'm sure they will, because those are good sellers. Anyways, that is the Morris lineup. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of them in the comments below. And let me know if you want me to make a video covering the distortion stuff. I wanted to, but distortions doesn't have too many props this year, so I don't know if I want to make a whole video covering it, or maybe just talk about it in a different video, or whatever. But I really do like the distortions lineup this year, so I've been wanting to get around to talking about it, because I think there's some really cool props in it. I just don't know if I'm going to make a whole video on it yet, because there's not too many. But with that out of the way, let me know what you think of the Morris animatronics in the comments below. And there are a few more, from what I've heard, that we still have to see that are going to be shown at Trans World. And I don't know if I'm going to cover them because there might only be like 2 and I'm not going to make a whole video on that. But we'll see what happens. I hope you all enjoyed. Keep howling at the moon, my werewolves.